So now we are going to look at sum and product of roots of quadratic equation. After knowing the nature of quadratic equation, so now we are going to look at sum and product of roots of quadratic equation. So ladies and gentlemen, we need to understand something here. So when we said sum, it means addition. Product means multiplication. So let's start with ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, which is the equation of quadratic. The equation of quadratic, and of course, remember we have a formula method. We have a formula that is used in solving quadratic equations. So in this case, we are going to use the formula method for solving quadratic equation to derive sum and product of quadratic equation. So remember, quadratic equation have a formula called, which is x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b square minus 4ac all over 2a. So of course from here we can have x1 and x2. So our x1 in this case is going to be x1 is equal to minus b plus square root of v square minus 4ac all over 2a. So our x2 is going to be minus b minus square root of v square minus 4ac all over 2a. So it means that for x1 it goes with the plus, and for x2 it goes with the minus. So now what we are talking about is about the sum and the product of root of quadratic equation. So now let's take the sum of, so x1 plus x2 is the same thing to say minus, because our x1 is minus b plus or minus, plus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 3. We are now going to say minus b plus square root of v square minus 4ac divided by 2a plus, which is this. So our x2 is this one. So we have minus b minus square root of v square minus 4ac all over 2a. So therefore, plus times minus is minus. So that now we are going to have minus b minus, minus b minus b. We are going to have minus 2b. And this is plus b squared minus b squared, and we have minus b squared minus 4a squared. So this one is positive, and the square root here, all the square root here is positive, and all the square root here is negative. So it means that this one will just go with this direction. So at the end, we are going to have minus 2b. And of course, this is 2a and this is 2a. So we are now going to say divide by 2a. So now these two will now cancel these two. So these two will now take care of this two. So we now end up having v over a. So it means that the sum of quadratic equation, is minus b, or the sum of the root of quadratic equation is minus b all over a. It's minus b all over a. So we are now going to look at for the product. So for the product, we have v squared plus v square root of. So we have minus b plus square root of v squared minus 4ac divided by 2a, then times minus square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So at the end we have this. So after we have this, if we now say minus b times minus b, it is going to be b squared, and minus b times minus square root of b squared minus 4ac to give us b plus, because it's minus. So minus times minus is plus. We have plus b square root of b squared minus 4ac. And then now we now take this and multiply it with this. So this square root of b squared minus 4ac times minus b is going to be equals minus b square root of b squared minus 4ac. And then we now take this, and we now get b squared minus 4ac. Then divided by a times 2a, we are going to have 4a squared. So at the end, this one will simply goes with this. So therefore, we are now going to left with b squared plus, we are going to have b squared minus b squared then plus 4ac divided by 4a squared. So this one will now go with this. So we now have 4ac divided by 4a squared. So this 4a will now go with 4a here. So we are now going to have c all over a. So it means that the product of the sum of the quadratic equation is c all over a, and the sum is minus b over a. So we are going to work with those two expressions. So let's now look at some examples under for quadratic equation. Example 1. So if 5 and 3 are roots of quadratic equation, find the equation. So actually, you may be given a root of quadratic equation and you will be asked to express the equation. So it's simple. So if we have 5 and 3 as a root of our quadratic equation, so we can now say our x1 is equal to 5 and our x2 is equal to 3. So we are now going to take this 5 to the other side. So we are going to take now this x to this. So we now have, this 5 to this side. So we now have x minus 5 is equal to 0. Or then we now take this x, this 3 will now go to this side. So we have x minus 3 equals to 0. So I'm going to put all this in brackets. So we have x minus 5 open close bracket, and we have x minus 3 open and close bracket, and we have the first 0. So we are now going to expand the bracket. So x times x, we have x squared. X times minus 3, we have minus 3x. Minus 5 times x, we have minus 5x. Minus 3 times, minus 5 times minus 3, we have plus 15 equals to 0. So we now have x squared minus 3x minus 5x, we have minus 8x plus 15 is equal to 0. So this is how we arrive at quadratic equation from the roots of quadratic equation. So you may be given a root of quadratic equation to find the real equation. So that is example 1. So now let's look at example 2. So we have another example here. Given that the root of the equation 2x squared minus 4x plus 5 are alpha and beta, then find the value of alpha squared plus beta squared. So how are we going to do this? So we are going to start this from the point of sum and the product of quadratic equation. So this is our equation. So we have 2x squared minus 4x solution. 2x squared minus 4x plus 5 is equal to 0. So remember, we said that our sum of quadratic equation is equal to sum of quadratic equation is equal to minus b all over a. And the product of quadratic equation is equal to c all over a. So now, we are now going to first find the sum of the root of our equation. So what are the root of our equation? The root of our equation is alpha and beta. So we are now going to get the sum of alpha and beta. So the sum of alpha plus beta is equal to minus b all over a. So alpha plus beta is equal to minus b all over a. So whenever we have alpha and beta, or whenever we have the root of the equation, we can get the sum of the root of the equation and the product of the root of the equation. So now the product of the root of the equation, which is alpha times beta is equal to c all over a. And of course, from our equation, we know that our a is equal to 2, our b is equal to minus 4, and our c is equal to 5. So now we are going to find the value of alpha plus beta. So alpha plus beta is equal to minus, so our v is minus 4. So open bracket minus 4 divided by 2, which is the value of our a, which is now equals to minus times minus is plus, so we have 4 divided by 2, we have 2. So alpha plus beta is equal to 2. And then the product, which is alpha times beta, is now equals to c. So our c is 5 and our a is 2. So we now have 5 divided by 2. And then from here, we are now going to get alpha squared plus beta squared. And how are we going to get alpha squared plus beta squared? So alpha squared plus beta squared actually is not equals to alpha plus beta squared. So alpha squared plus beta squared is not equals to alpha plus beta squared. So how are we going to get alpha plus beta squared? So let's just say alpha plus beta, then we square it. So when we said alpha plus beta is squared, it means that it's the same thing as alpha plus beta, open bracket, another alpha plus beta. So now we are now going to say alpha times alpha. We have alpha square plus alpha times alpha is alpha square, and alpha times beta we have alpha beta. Then we have beta times alpha, we have plus alpha beta. Then we now have beta times beta, then we now have plus beta square. So therefore now we have alpha plus beta square. So alpha plus beta square is now equals to, is now the same as alpha square. So we have our alpha square then plus beta square, and this is our beta square plus alpha beta plus alpha beta. So we have 2 alpha beta. So it means that alpha square plus beta square, you can now take this to change this to another side, so that to make alpha square beta square something of the formula. So we now have alpha plus beta square, then we now take this, we have minus 2 alpha beta is equal to alpha square plus beta square. So it means that alpha square plus beta square is something as open bracket alpha plus beta open bracket close bracket square minus 2 alpha beta. So it means that whenever we see this, you can replace it with this. So therefore now we need to get the value of alpha square plus beta square. We are now going to do alpha square plus beta square is equal to alpha open bracket close bracket square minus 4 alpha beta. So what is the value of alpha plus beta? So the value of alpha plus beta is 2. So we now have 2 square minus this 2 times our alpha beta is 5 divided by 2. So we now have 2 square is 4. This 2 will now cancel this, so we have minus 5. So we now have alpha square minus beta square equals to minus 1. So this is how to find alpha and beta square.